amidst the Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi's declaration to run for president of Nigeria. His state is preparing to head to the polls on June 18, 2022. With the governor taking his political ambitions to the next level, there are doubts if his attention will currently be concentrated on the affairs of the state. This situation can be a good thing for other opposition parties hoping to unseat the APC in Ekiti State. The two major forces to look out for will be the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Social Democratic Party. The latter being represented in the forthcoming governorship election by a former governor of the state in the person of Segun Oni. The former governor has made promises to boost education in the state. He also said that his administration will tap into the axis potentials in banana plantation by attracting a cottage industry to the area for more incomes for the farmers and employment opportunities for the people. Joining us on this show this morning as we discuss his plans for the people of Ekiti and the strategies he's putting in place to win the governorship election is Mr. Segun Oni. Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes, thank you, and good to have you back on the show. The last time we had audio connections, and we had to stop the conversation abruptly. But I recall that the last time we met on this program, the first question that you were responding to was this issue about your, migration from PDP to APC to PDP to PAPC to SDP, and I recall asking you whether this was about principle or expediency, or as some of your critics have said, this is just about opportunism.
It is not opportunism. And I must say that those who know me very well will know that I am not doing this because of myself. I am doing this to respond to what people are saying they want. I had been governor for 3.5 years, and the people had had the opportunity of testing 4 governors. And they continue to say that of all the 4 that they have seen, that the one that is distinguished and clearly productive is my time. And they are all talking about it. That's why the quest for Segun Oni is not just partisan, it is a movement. I'm also surprised myself at the number of people from everywhere, from within Ekiti State, from within Nigeria, and from the diaspora. It is not about me. It is about what we have done and what they believe we can do. And the pressure is coming. I am clearly not an opportunist, and I cannot be. I don't have any reason to be. Yes, I left PDP in the first instance. I was explaining the other time. I left PDP because my party allowed, a party in power, allowed a court case that came from nowhere, that the party itself was not aware of, the party did not have the opportunity of defending itself about, to procure a judgment against my being national vice chairman, a job that I had committed myself to and I was doing with everything I have got. Then, when the judgment came, I was expecting the national chairman then and the National Working Committee to respond. I was expecting that it will create an opportunity to take out some people who were clearly on the wrong side of the law. But my national chairman did not do anything, and I had to walk away quietly. And while being away quietly, there were other people who also were not happy with what was going on in the PDP. The new PDP was formed as a result of that, and we all left. I went to the APC. I was fortunate. I was deputy national chairman, and I committed myself to the work. I did it throughout until there was pressure on me to contest the governorship, because out there was very hostile to the APC. It was a PDP government then. The National Assembly caucus were the people who came to prevail on me. And after much pressure, because I know I've got a goodwill, I had to put myself out there to contest. And, well, after I came out, the ground became softened. But I didn't win the primaries. That is another story that I'm sure a lot of people will remember. But after the primary, I committed myself to the party, because wherever I am, I want to make contributions that are solid. But my supporters insisted that we were going to challenge the fact that the opponent, the man who won, did not actually resign in line with the guidelines of the party. Resign his appointment. Well, I told them they can go ahead. They went ahead. We went as far as to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court muddled up the dates and said we filed out, not that we were wrong, but we filed out of action, which is still contestable, because that issue had been cleared earlier on at the first sitting of the Supreme Court. Anyway, we went back home. Then when we got back, they now raised letters of suspension for as many of us as possible at our ward levels. And I was deputy national chairman of the party, and I didn't expect that it would be so cheap to take out a deputy national chairman at ward levels. I expected that the authorities then would have responded to it. My people wrote to Adams Oshiomhole, who pretended he didn't see our communications. And till today, there was no acknowledgement. Unfortunately for Comrade Adams, he was later accused at his own ward, just like that. And that led to his exit, and that led the party to some crisis. I expected something to be done. I was waiting, and I waited, nothing was done. It was at that point I had to succumb to the pressure. Don't forget, as a politician, you are leading people. At times, even if you do not get completely excited about something, you have to consider also what the disposition of your supporters are.
Yes, you do indeed,
And,
Mr. Oni.
My support...
If I could interject,
Yep.
I do beg your pardon. You've really been through the wars as far as politics is concerned and political parties, which by some definitions would make you what is called a recycled politician. How would you defend yourself against that allegation? Because the current mood is no to godfathers, no to recycled politicians. We need a breath of fresh air. How would you counter that description of you as a recycled politician?
Well, recycled, depending on what you want to call it. Some will call it experience, some will call it recycled. It's just the way you want to describe it. But I think the ultimate decider of the adjectives to use are the people that will vote. And if the people are saying they want something, they want something, no matter how you describe it. Describe it as recycled. If that is what the people say they want, that is what they want. Describe it as experience. If that is what the people say they don't want, they don't want. So that's me.
All right. So a lot of people say this your SPV called SDP has no structure in the States. This your special purpose vehicle you're using now called SDP has no structure in the States, across the world and everything. And what they're saying out there is that it's a joke. What do you say to that?
Well, I wouldn't labor so much trying to convince anybody whether there's a structure or not. People make structures. And I can tell you that what we are seeing now in Ekiti is a movement, is what you can call a revolution of some sort. And in so many places, the offices of the PDP had been cancelled, and they had painted them to SDP colors. If anybody says there are no structures, it is people that make structures. And I will just say, wait, and let us see. I have been privileged to see some projections that are made by people who really are very, very experienced at doing it, who conduct polls, and the polls are encouraging us that we are doing very well. I want Nigerians to just give us a little bit more of time and wait until election time to see the surprise that will happen. Structures are about people, and we are about people. The people of Ekiti are about to make a very, very solid point that they own the terrain and they will not surrender what belongs to them to any institutions.
Okay, Mr. Oni, you were governor 2007 to 2010, about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, now 12 years later, you want to return to the office. After you, there have been other governors. But what exactly can you recall from your record of performance between 2007 and 2010 that you think should recommend you to the people of Ekiti State? And what are you proposing to the people of Ekiti State this time around that you think should give you an advantage?
First, like I said, to begin with, these people, the people of Ekiti, had the opportunity of going through 4 governors. If I did not give what you can call a premium quality service, I would have been forgotten by now. But the people are still saying they want Segun Oni. And we cannot say that these people don't know what they want because they have had the opportunity of comparing. When I was there, I brought what you will describe as a world-class eye center to Ekiti, the best on the continent of Africa then, and managed for us on technical partnership by the Cubans. It's still there, but maybe the processes are no longer there. I brought to the education sector, I brought digital experience, not digital education, digital experience to the senior secondary school. I gave the boarding students each individual laptops. I wanted them to become friends with their laptops. Every time I hear the FinTech app now, I say, this was a vision we saw then, but that could not materialize. When young people at very early ages are made addicted to their laptops, they can found a relationship that the world may need, and it becomes what you call an app. And I'm sure the world remembers Facebook. It didn't start as a laboratory project of MIT or any of the big technology savvy universities. It came as a result of one young man who became passionate about what he wanted to do and what job he wants to make his computer do for him. By now, we would have had people who had had over a decade of such a relationship. These are things that are not common. The common things I did roads. Nobody has ever done as much roads as me. And the roads I did are still there. They are not the roads that disappear after 1 or 2 rainy seasons. I paid arrears of pension from 1994, from the time, arrears of gratuity, from the time we were in Old Ondo State. These gratuities, nobody thought could ever be paid at once. We paid it at once. Now I understand the gratuities are piling up. The last they received, I understand, was 2012 or early 2013. I know that the people who received all this are not, they are alive. They are not all dead. I brought autonomy to the local government system, and they were awarding their contracts and ensuring that development can actually take roots at the grassroots. Recently, I saw one of the local government chairmen saying that the allocation, net allocation to his local government was always about 100 plus, and what he receives is 7 million out of 100 plus every month. And she said it. Government only responded later that she was lying. But if I were the governor, I would have asked them to publish the net that actually the lady got to show, and others, to show that she was lying.
If I could come in, sir, we don't have that long left for this interview.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you, what would you say would be your biggest lesson or biggest regret in the 3 years and 5 months that you were governor of Ekiti in 2007 to 2010, May 2007 to October 2010? And what would you do differently, specifically now, if you were to regain your seat?
Well, what I will do differently is in the area of microcredit. We put then 1.5 billion naira into microcredits. The microcredits were initially supposed to be for women, which we later extended up. If I'm going to do it now, I will start with women and with the youth. We'll put them on the front burner and ensure that the process is made a bit more rigorous so that your vision would have been very, very clear. Before, by the time you go to the point of receiving that money, you would almost be touching in your mind's eye what you are going to do and how it is going to translate into a better future for you. I think we went too fast. The people who got there would have waited, doing the preliminaries and doing the planning and doing the seeding much more. Okay. That's one thing that we must get back to, and that's one thing that we must do differently. Okay. There are a lot of things we did that we can only go back to because they are no longer as we left it. We had the most efficient drug management system in this country before, and the late Professor Dora Akunyili said it, that she was surprised that there was something like that when she came herself to see it. Okay. With that, in Ekiti, you cannot face an out-of-stock situation for drugs in more than 1 out of 20 hospital requests all over Ekiti. And if you are in a remote location and the drug you are asking for by the stocking echelon cannot be kept in that remote location, we had then power bikes that would deliver it from Ado to that location in less than 1.5 hours. But now, yes, we will employ drones for delivery. Okay, that's great. Which will be faster. Good. We'll still have power bikes, okay, but we'll do a lot of things now using technology to advantage.
Oh, I mean, that's very great. And that brings me to the next question. You said you did more roads than any other person in Ekiti State. How many kilometers of road did you do in general?
Oh, yes.
How many kilometers of road did you do? That's number one.
That we completed.
Yeah, how many kilometers of road?
Over 400 kilometers.
Okay, just over 400 kilometers of road.
That we completed.
Okay.
Over 400 were completed. We had another 500 or so under construction. They are all over the place.
Okay. And the second question will be, you said you gave boarding house student laptops. So I wanted to inquire, was it only boarding house students that you gave? What happened to day students? And what is your plan in general for the technology ecosystem? I have been to Ekiti, and trust me, there is a budding tech ecosystem there. So why was it only boarding house students, and what's your plan for the tech ecosystem?
Yeah, it was only boarding students because the objective is to put them in an environment where they will have access all the time, so there were visits, and where we will not endanger the laptops themselves. If you have students to be carrying laptops home every day, from school to home, of course, you'll be losing them, as many of them as possible every day or every month and so on. We didn't want that. We wanted a situation where the people who have these laptops are sure to have the access they needed. And so every one of these boarding schools was equipped with a VSAT. And of course, we had power generators so they can charge their laptops, and so they are not hampered in any way. We know that it is not about quantity. It is also about quality, the quality of access that you have. And we believe if we continue, then by now we would have had one or two smiling points.
Okay, Mr. Oni, very quickly.
I haven't gone through the technology ecosystem that you talk about. I'm waiting. Once I'm elected, I will go and find out what is available. I must find out what is available. Then we'll build our approach on whatever is available.
Okay, Mr. Oni, so that this doesn't look like all about Ekiti State, you know, let's just take at least something on national politics. What's your take on what's going on at the federal level, particularly with regard to the presidential race? And what's the state of play in your party, the Social Democratic Party, as everyone seems to be focusing more on the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party? As briefly as you can make it.
Well, what is going on now is amusing to me. At times I always ask myself, the presidency of Nigeria, otherwise known as the executive presidency, is the same presidency that the Obafemi Awolowos, the Nnamdi Azikiwes, and the Aminu Kanos, and all the like were running after with all their energies, with all their planning, and they were not able to make it. I then asked myself, what has gone wrong? Have we lowered the standard? And I don't think the Constitution of Nigeria has lowered the standard. But it has gone to the level of amusement now that just anybody will say, I want to be president. So I believe that something has definitely gone wrong.
Okay.
Something has definitely gone wrong.
Okay. On that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Segun Oni, for joining us on the morning show today.